Welcome back, everybody. This is Unconditional Surrender. Me, myself, and I campaign of the main event scenario. Game is published by GMT Games, signed by Salvatore Vasta. We are in the middle of the German operations phase, or Axis operations phase, I should say. They failed to take one city. They failed on taking two cities. They did manage to destroy a couple of armies in the south. Kind of looks like I'm trying to break out for a Stalingrad winter. I managed to take Reserve here in the center, so the Russians have something they have to kind of deal with. I'm down to very few production points left. I do want to get at least 3 of my airplanes up. I have the Africa Army to rebuild, and I have the 20th here to restore. And since I'm under 15, I can't do both of those and take all 4 airplanes. And there's a bit of a hole here in the south that they could run into Rostov. So I thought maybe I ought to do something about that. So I'm going to move the 2nd Army first. It's going to go 1 across the river on a rail line, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. To kind of bolster up the Romanians. That's my weak link there. If they get wackadoodled, then the Russians might be able to isolate something or something. I don't want to take any chances. And that's point. Need to have at least 12 left. I'm going to go ahead and move the 20th forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, I could go 5, 6, 7 to 2958 and be across the Don. If I were to go here, I would threaten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can run to Saratov, blah blah blah. However, I'm in a hole there where I would actually be isolated by the 44th moving to 2957. The 28th moves up to 2959 and attacks me 3 times. And I'm isolated, and that's just not a good thing. So I'm going to stop in 2957. It takes a little bit more doing for them to isolate me, and it kind of puts a crimp in them. They have to kind of fill into 2958, otherwise I'll be able to get across to the Don next turn, even in poor weather. That's another one. So that's putting me down to 12, so I think I'm going to stop there, because I do have to, since I put him in the line, I'm going to have to replace him. I might not build... What if I don't build the Africa Army? What can I do up here? I could bring the 1st Army down towards the southern part of this line with rivers and mountains and things, oh my. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could get them all to 29 or to 2047 if I really wanted to, which would kind of pin the 7th from being able to do anything to the 6th, which is probably a good thing. Decisions. Do I move to the Nor unit and the 1st Army and forego the Africa Army and just build 3 airplanes and restore the 20th? Or do I build the Africa Army? I think I'm going to get these units moving. So I'm going to spend 2 more, so I'll only have 10 left. I've already based on me having to replace 1 guy in the line, I can't really do all my aircraft. So the 1st is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down the rail line, and the Nor infantry is going to go 1, 2, and for right now 3, 4. Into 1547. Yeah, because that give me an assault on that Volkov or whatever city, and putting the 1st down where I put it kind of keeps the 7th from being able to move into 2048, which could have started threatening supply lines and things. I don't think that he would have done it, because it probably also would have meant that he loses it. And with only 11 willpower, the Russians can't be risking their infantry, so to speak. Question's going to be is, can they get in a decent enough attack? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And he has to go here. Shock Army could move there. He'd be +1, +2, +3, +4, -1. He'd be +3 to +2. But he does have a Partisans marker, so it'd be +3 to 0. So that's probably what he's going to do. Oh boy, I forgot about Partisans marker. Oh well, I don't think I'm going to hold Reserve that long. All the Germans are in supply, as far as I can tell. I don't think I see anybody isolated and out of supply. Oh, I could do something with the Hungarians. They have a point to spend. I think they're going to spend their point to move their guy up. Where's the Hungarians? I think they're going to move their guy up. I do have some nonsense to do with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're going to go to 3154 for now, just to be someplace forward. I also had a point that I could spend for the Finns. I'm going to go ahead and take the Northern Finn militia and put it in Leningrad, just so I can say I spent their production point. And the Swedes are going to spend 2 as well. I'm going to go up to Norway and do some moving around here. There's nobody in Stavanger, so the 4th moves in there. And then the 3rd, the 2nd is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And get moving on to Sundsvall. Okay. So that's the Swedish points. Okay, now I've moved everybody in the north and east. Down here, this Italian debacle. I have one chance to try and get the Tobruk fort out if I can get this fleet and convoy in there. My fleet would have 3 sorties. He'd have 0. Yeah, we gotta try it. Okay, so this guy is going to jump on this. These guys are going to go 1, 2 into C-Zone 24. The British go, stop! I'm going to intercept you! From Alexandria with the Med Fleet. Or not the Med Fleet, the Home Fleet, sorry. So the British are a net of 0. +2 for British, -2 for sorties. The escort is at -3. So here we go. The fleet rolls A5. That's not good. -3. I think a 5 doesn't matter, does it? No, I'm going to take 2 sorties no matter what. Okay. And that means that he can attempt to go after the convoy too and try and run up its sorties. So the British are now at a net of -1. Convoy is -2 because it's convoy, -1 for its sorties, so it's a -3. So the British roll a 2. -1 is a 1. So they'll take a sortie. Convoy takes a sortie, and it can continue its movement. It doesn't have to rebase at this point. But with 5 sorties, if I land in Tobruk to leave, I would have 6 sorties going into 25. I'd be at -5. He would have an airplane that's at -3. His fleet would be at -2. Odds are he could possibly hit me there. I could technically then go rebase at Rhodes, but then my fleet couldn't move. My convoy's not available for supply for any of these guys. I don't know if I should even try. I don't think I'm going to try because I don't want my convoys to have that many sorties. I'm just going to go back to Tripoli. Just did not work out the way I wanted it to. I was hoping to get by the British. If I had gotten by the British, then they would each had 1 sortie. I'd have been at 4 and 2. and I could have picked up the Tobruk garrison and tried to run away with him, so that he wouldn't get wackerdoodled by the British. Because that's what's going to happen to him right now, because he's going to end up in low supply in my supply phase, which is where I'm at. I'm just going to go ahead and supply to the 2 forward dudes. 2 forward garrisons. And then the guy in Tobruk, why does it always pick up both units when I want? I do stuff like this. So the guy in Tobruk is at low supply. It's at -2 total. There's not a lot I can do. And that is the German operations phase. I'm going to take a quick stop here and check my time. I didn't turn on my timer, so I got to see how far this particular turn went. So, oh, not there. Okay, it looks like I was at 10 minutes, so I've got like 20 minutes left. Start my timer to try and make sure that I don't go over by too much, just in case I get involved in Russia. So we're going to go ahead. The Axis have. Oh, the Axis is going to do one other thing. They're going to go ahead and put their plane in supply. I'm thinking of trying to do some kind of switchery, wackerdoodle stuff here, and I'm not sure if it's going to work. But I figured I should put them in supply if I wanted to try and do anything with them. So, that's the Axis operations phase. Western operations phase, they're going to move their aircraft down to Plymouth. Sortie. That's just because I don't want him to take pot shots at the Force H, because it's 5 points to rebuild and it's only 3 for him to rebuild for aircraft, so he might decide that it's worth it to screw up my fleet movement and stuff. Don't think I have anything else. Oh, yeah, I was going to do silliness with the Americans. 4th Fleet is stacked officially with the 1st Convoy, which is stacked officially with the Task Force, which officially picks its butt up and moves into North Atlantic. And then these guys all take sorties. And yeah, like that. Okay. I took care of the American move to the Middle East, where everything is the most important. So the Western Desert Force will activate. Where's my national will cards? 2 points for the British. And they will attack the Italian here in Tobruk. The Italians start off at -2. The British start off at +1 because they're British. Bring up the faction card. We go to faction to commitment. Yes. Everybody commits. Tank markers for each. And the British will go ahead and use this airplane. So they're both at 5. So if you add this up, started off with +1 with British, +2 for a tanks marker, +2 for an aircraft, +2 because it's isolated, and -1 because it's a city and they really, really want to try and get this. So they're going to go ahead and commit their free forces as well, which gives them an extra +1. So they're +7 going in here. And the Italians, basically, their tanks marker makes them go up to at least a 0, so it's a straight die roll. So we get to see if the British can roll well. A 2. 2 + 7 is a 9. Halved to 4.5, rounds up to a 5. So the British have a net 5. And the Italians roll also a 2. So a net 5 to a 2 is a DR. The Italians cannot retreat, so they will flip. And that will make them a net of -4 for the next combat, and they will have nothing they can add. So it looks like they're going to lose a will point for that army. Let's bring up the turn track. Tanks go on the tanks on the turn track. Next turn, and the British roll for their free forces. 6, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll see him in March of 1943 with the American 8th Air Force. How wonderful. Okay. So we did that. Oh, that was dumb. I should have thrown in this dude. Don't think it would have mattered. So I throw him in this time. So the British are going to activate 3 more points worth of units. Kind of mess up their cleaning up their sorties, but they have a chance to take Tobruk here with the BEF. This guy activates, declares an assault. BEF activates, declares an assault. We go to combat commitment. He doesn't have any. We use this one to go up by 1, and I have a tanks marker to play as well. So when we go through this again, I think we end up about the same place. +1 because he's British, +2 for a tanks marker, +2 for isolation, +2 for an airplane, +1 for a buddy, -1. So they are +7 again. And the Italians are at -4. So the best they can get is a 2. A 1 +7 is an 8. Halved is a 4. Oh, so the worst die roll that the British could roll, they would beat the Italians because the best they can roll is a 2. That's the worst die roll I can get is a 1. +7 gives me an 8, which is halved, which is a 4, which is a DR for a 1 or a 2. And the best the Italians can get at -4, even if they roll a 6, is a 2. So he dies. He is destroyed, which means that they will lose a will point for the army. Faction card, please. That goes into the eliminated box. This can just be deleted. I don't need that anymore. We're going to go ahead and take the hex with the low supply 10th Army. And that means the fort actually gets flipped instead of destroyed. Tanks marker has to go on the turn track. And I guess you're celebrating in England because you took Tobruk. Yay. Yep, that's pretty much all the real. We have to do our supply. We don't have any. Oh, nope, we have one other thing to do. We've been tinkering on the Germans. We're going to run a bomber into Dusseldorf. The Germans are a net of 0, and the British are okay, -2 for a bomber, +1 for British, and then -3 sorties. So they're at 4. Best they can get is a 2. The Germans roll a 5. 5 to a 2 is 2 sorties on the British, and 1 sortie on the fighter. The idea here is I'm trying to chip his fighter away because he doesn't have the production points to rebuild him, and I can get to a certain point where I will get through, especially like in poor weather or something, and I'll be able to get a couple of bomb markers and maybe turn the strategic war on its ear. That's the strategy from the British. The Germans know it's coming, but there's not a lot they can do about it because they don't have production points. It's just the way life is. You got so much to do in the East that you just don't have the production points to spend to do anything else. All right. I gotta do supply. I gotta go flip my convoys down here. I'm gonna do this a little differently. This one's going to take 3, and he's going to take 1. So that a little different distribution for a bit. And we are done with the British, the Western phase. My timer says I have 10 minutes left. I'm going to see if I can do the Soviet phase. If not, I'll come back and do a cut here or something. But I really want to try and get it all in here. The Russians don't really have a lot to do at this point. They have to try and maybe manufacture one assault here at Rezev. I'm almost thinking I shouldn't bother to even do that. Just save my production points to build everything I possibly can. I do have to put up some kind of defense, though. in the woods. So I have to activate him, the 8th Army. He'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know what? Just because I can, I'm going to declare this as an assault. In case I change my mind later after I get done moving things. Wow. Double wow. I think I need to activate the 23rd. Activate the 23rd. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down to 2958. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I go into 3659, 3760, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that won't help. I hate to put this army down here, but it's going to have to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I cannot quite get into the mountains I want to get into. Just a little too far for a Stalingrad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I really wanted to get to like 3861, which would block the road and the rail to Tiflis and Granzi, but I can't quite get there, so I'm going to sit on the junction instead. So that's two production points I've used out of my 26. Still have 24 left. If I remember right, I have like 5 regular infantry and a shock, that's 6. 12 airplanes, that's 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. Right now I could build everything, but I'm not going to be able to build those armored units, I don't think. I might be able to build one, because I do have to do some other moves here. The 2nd Guards, which costs 2 production points, is going to go 1 to 2456, 2, 3, 4. And the reason why I'm putting him into Bereznev is because he's always +1 because he's elite, and I didn't want to pull a shock army down here because I'm going to do something else with this shock army this turn. So that's why I moved the guards in there. Then I'm going to activate the third tanks. We're going to try and see if we can't take back Tula. He's going to move to 2355. Then I'm going to activate the 2nd shot. So that's 3 more. Now I'm down to 19. Okay. Oops, did I count that guy up there? I better count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because the guy up here. 8 from 26. Now I've counted too much. I'm so confused. This guy's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've activated 8, which means I should be at 18. Why am I at... Oh, because that's British. I was looking at the British going, why am I at 17 for the British? It should be 18. It's like the Russians. I gotta get to the right card. The Russians are at 18. Okay. They've got this assault here, so they're just going to go ahead and do it, see if they get to Tula. They start off as, Russians start off at 0, the armor. He gets +2 for that. And I get +2 to add in the shock army, because it's fair weather. The Germans start at +2. We don't need to worry about movement points at this point. So, yeah, it's +4 to +2. Let's see if I can get them to retreat. Russians roll a 2 +4 is a 6. The Germans roll a 6 +2 is an 8. 6 to an 8 is, guess what? A diamond. So the Germans hang on to Tula for the turn. It was worth a shot. Now the question is do I want to move 2 more movement points and try to take back Reserve? It would be 1, 2. It would be a Russian army plus 1 army plus 2 from a shock unit. The 4th shock could get there. So that would be plus 3. It would be plus 3 minus 1. It would be a plus 2 to a plus 2. I'm looking for a lucky die roll. Is it worth the 2 production points? What can I build? Not there. Faction card. 6 and 12 is 18. So I would have to forego one of my airplanes. Well, this guy's got 5, so I can let him stay at 5 and activate all the others. Right? Yeah, I think I'll do this. So I'm going to activate the shock army. He goes 1, 2 to 20, 52, and then 1 down the rail line. So that's 3, and then it cost him 4 to go across the river, and the 12th will activate. So that's 2 more production points. So I'm down to, quit moving the British, 16. Okay. Just take that assault mark. Damn it. I really hate it when Vassal does that. You click on it to upgrade it, upload the thing, and it does the annoying little thing about Vassal that comes on. So we're going to make one of these infantry armies up here be the primary. So he starts at 0. He gets +1 for a buddy, and he gets +2 for a shock buddy, and then he gets -1 because he's going to a city. So he's +2. The Germans start at +2. So it's a +2 to a +2. Just trying to get a lucky die roll for the Russians. 3 + 2 is a 5. 1 + 2 is a 3. Is that enough? 3 + 2 is a 5, and 2 + 1 is a 3. I think that's enough. Yes, it is. They got a DR. So push the German 4th Army out. Let's get rid of that control marker. And who are you? The 12th Army, who had been pushed out before, will take it back. And that, most importantly, gives me back 2 will points. So I'm back up to 13. So, different alarm. So they did well there. I have, what now, 16 left? 3 aircraft is 9, and 6 infantry is 15. So I could move 1 more guy, because I can't really build an armored. So the question is do I want to move anybody into harm's way here? I'm thinking possibly moving Yaroslav or Kalinin. There's nobody in Kalinin. So I'm going to move Yaroslav. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, down to 25, 56. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. He's going to do that, and then I'll be left with 15. 15. Hello, 15. All the Russians are in supply. We're going to have to build some things down here in the south, but that's the way it goes. It's just the way it is. So the Russian operations is over. I've only got about a minute left, so I'm going to go over just to finish this because we're at end of turn things. There's nobody with a no supply marker on them. Replacements phase. Oh, you know what I didn't do? The Italian will went down for losing an overseas city. So I should actually be at 9. Sorry about that. Replacements for the Axis. Let's go do the... where's my jumper? There it is. Let's just go do the Italians. Get this down. We're going to go ahead and get the airplane down. And we're going to get this fleet that's been totally whacked back down to 3. So that's 10. I don't think I have anything to build. but that takes me down. Dang it, 10. The Germans are going to spend all 10 of theirs in replacements in the east. One is on this guy, the 20th. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and finish this turn, even though it's going to go over a little bit, over 30 minutes. And then the Germans have to try and figure out, this is one of the airplanes that we need to bring back. I think I bring back this airplane. And because the South is so skinny on troops, I'm wondering if I should take back this one up here, because there's more Russians up here that I might need to counteract. Depends on what the weather is. So which airplane do you go after? I'm going to do the one down in Rostov. I don't know, probably the wrong thing to do. So that's my 10. That's the Axis replacements. The Western replacements, first we go to the Americans. This comes down to. This comes down to. This gets eliminated. This gets eliminated. And then we go to the British. The British are going to spend 4 here right away. Oh, come on, come on. No, quit. Stop that. Dang it, this thing bothers me. So they spent 4 there. I got 13 left. So that's like 3 3s and a 4. 3 3s and a 4, or 4 3s. They don't have anything to build. They have an upgrade unit. So, yeah, boy, howdy. They're going to just have to do without that. I think I have to go to the Middle East. I need to be able to pursue the enemy. So we're going to just do these guys, that's 3, 6, 9, 10, 12. 12 out of 13 leaves me 1 point. Can't do anything with it, so this way it goes. Replacements for the Soviets. So the Soviets have 15. They're going to do 3 airplanes to leave themselves 6. So let's go do their 3 airplanes. They're going to be the 3 airplanes that have 6 sorties, since they have one in behind Moscow that has a sortie left. And I don't think they had. Did they have somebody flipped? I need to reset the active pieces here. Did I have anybody that got flipped? No, they eliminated them. Okay, so nobody's flipped. So yeah, I'll be able to build 6 armies, or 5 armies in a shot. So that's replacements. Axis doesn't have an upgrade. The West does. They will go get their... they're going to get their 8th Army. They're going to put it on Western Desert Force, so it gets deleted, and the 8th Army takes its place. Okay. And... that's upgrade. Mobilization for the Axis. They don't have any production points left, so they can't mobilize anything. They're all at 0. UK's at 0. Russians have 6. They're going to spend 6 to build. Oh! Want to take it back. Western allies. US gets to build their fleet. I forgot that the US had something. I know the UK didn't, but the US did. The US never runs out of production points, so... okay, and now the Russians spend their 6 to go back up to USSR. Most of the armies are going to have to be built down here, it looks like. Where's my faction card? There it is. Okay, so first and foremost, we got to drop an infantry army in Stalingrad. I think we drop one Granzi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Granzi, and I think I drop another one in Ekstron. shock army. Do I put the shock army in Razan? And I got 2 more armies to build. Yeah, that's right. Gonna go in Yaroslav and... Oh no, they're gonna go in Vologaya and Kalinin, so they're a little closer to the front. I think I'm pretty good in the south as far as number of units. The possibility of breakthroughs here by assault are slim, but they could push me back, so I think I want to have extra infantry up here. Biggest problem is if they can figure out a way to isolate some of these units and kill them while taking a city. That would be bad. They have to get through. They have to get 13 points in 1 bad weather turn for sure, 2 bad weather turns, and possibly a clear turn in November. If they get a clear turn in November, the Germans might actually be able to pull it off. If they don't, I don't think the Germans can get enough, but they're going to try. Okay, that's mobilization. There is nobody talking because we're all at war. No diplomacy. Victory check phase. They haven't conquered Germany yet, so I'm still... War must go on. End of turn phase. Bring up the turn track. Put it over a little bit so action card comes down over here. That's all Axis, I think. Tank. German submarine. Oh, that goes in the mobilization box. And this comes down into the mobilization box. The British, their tanks markers back. Hello. Russians get their tanks markers back. Oh, you know what I did do? I took Rezev without using my partisans. I should have used my partisans and kind of guaranteed it. The Americans get the partisans, and the Americans get a surprise attack marker. Oh, things are not looking good for the Germans all of a sudden. And that then is the end of the September 1942 turn. This was the second installment of it. Sorry I went over a little bit of time, but we were so close to the end I thought it silly to have like a 5-minute video just to do end of turn stuff. So this is Dren 608. Thanks for watching my videos. If you like what you see, please subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Leave me comments, good and bad. And we will see you next time at the beginning of October of 1942. Bye-bye.